Thank you for listening to the Run Your Day podcast. We hope you enjoyed today's show. If you did, feel free to share today's show with friends and family. Until next time, have a great day.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome into the Run Your Day podcast. Dan Hafner, your host, joining you here this morning. As always, my friends, it is Friday. Thank God it's finally Friday. Thank you all for joining. Today's topic is this: how growth really happens. As always, thank you all for joining. Enjoy the show. So, today we're going to talk about, this is actually going to tie into some of my college years as well. We're going to talk about how growth really happens. And I think that there's two different beliefs, right? There's the belief that, growth is something that happens over time, in small increments. You make small steps, small singles, every single day, baby steps as you crawl towards what you truly want. Now, the other side and the other theory is that, growth happens all at once, like punctuated equilibrium, right? And this is what I really did my thesis on in college, was the punctuated equilibrium theory as it applies to laws and government and politics. And the whole concept behind it was that there would be a status quo. There's a status quo for a long time. Everything's the same, everything's the same, everything's the same. And then boom, there's a triggering event, such as a focusing event, a big national, widely known event that forces change, right? And this was tied back to the process of, and the theory of evolution, that an animal would be basically the same, and then all of a sudden the environment would change and it would force adaptation very, very quickly for survival. Right? That's the theory. And as we apply this to our life, do you go along and just stay the same all the time, every day, doing the same things, being the same exact person, until a major event happens in your life? You get fired from a job, you move to a different city, you break up or with a longtime boyfriend or girlfriend, or get divorced after 30 years of marriage. Do you have the death of a close relative, family member, parent, child, sibling, whatever it might be, right? There's these major life events that can force big changes in our lives. And if you're going through one of those, it's a tough isn't even a good word. It's a uncertain and tumultuous time period of your life, right? Like you can I've been through these in my life. I'm not really going through one now, but I've been through these, and it's just really, it's full of uncertainty, it's full of doubt, it's full of fear, it's full of feelings, it's full of emotions, just a whole bunch of things, right? But what I'm really here to talk about is how this applies to positive change in our life. So I'm going to try to take more of a positive spin on this. So the theory that I've kind of landed on, and really I think it's a mixture of both. And this is just through my experience, and probably the experience of several other people that I've seen over the past year or two of my life, and just kind of witnessed either in person or online, and just kind of seen how things have developed for them. And for myself as well. So I really think that there's a mixture of these, right? I really believe that, growth has to happen incrementally. Like you have to take consistent actions. You have to take consistent and dedicated paths and make sure that, you're improving something daily, or at least regularly. Right? Like you can't just do everything all at once. It's so hard to just absolutely change everything all at once and just completely 180, whatever it might be, whatever situation you're in, right? Like no one loses 180 pounds overnight. Like it just doesn't happen, right? So when it comes to things like that, it's a process, right? But I really do think that there is an element of this punctuated equilibrium, of this massive changes can take place over a very short period of time. And I think that's obviously, where the most, well, I shouldn't say the most growth, but the most impactful change can happen, right? I think, obviously the compound effect of changing something slightly over time leads to a much bigger change, much bigger effect. It's just hard to see daily. But when you look back, 6 months ago, a year ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, how things have changed because of the actions that you've taken and the life that you've lived, it's like unrecognizable. It's completely different, right? But there are these times in our lives when these just massive events or changes in beliefs or just like a big event that just significantly impacts our lives causes massive change. Like it just can cause you to look at the world differently. It can cause you to act or speak differently, right? So I really do believe, at least through my experience and the experiences I've seen in other people and the things that I've studied and learned, I really think that there's a mixture of both. I think that as long as you are taking consistent, regular actions towards changing whatever situation you're trying to change, that will result in the biggest amount of change over time. But they're really, I'm not going to say there has to be the punctuated, equilibrium changes, but they really do force like a massive time warp and a rift in the amount of change that actually occurs and the difference that is actually the outcome for the result, right? And the bitch about it is like, you can't really see when those things are coming. like they just usually happen, right? They're just, you wake up one day and boom, that's reality now. And you're like, oh shit. All right, here we go. So my question for you today as I wrap up for the show and for the week is, where in your life do you see this, what's the word I'm looking for? This pattern, being manifested. Where in your life do you see this pattern of incremental change versus punctuated change? And where are you right now? As it applies to one area of your life, where are you now? Are you in the incremental change phase where you're just taking consistent action towards something, trying to make something a little bit different? Or are you in the punctuated stage? Like, is shit going sideways for you? Are things getting mixed up? Are you in a tumultuous part of your life right now? And if so, just know that, that on the other side of that is the change, or is something, a gift really that you can't see right now. And it's there. And it's special, and it really contains something that is positive, even if you're in a negative situation, like the death of a family member or something, a divorce or whatever it might be. Like there is a gift in there somewhere for you that's positive. I know it sounds weird to say in such a negative light, but there is. All right, my friends. So that's going to wrap up today's show. I appreciate you guys joining as always. Be on the lookout for the shows next week. It's going to be another week of some interesting and deep topics, as always, with your host, Dan the Man Hafner. All right, my friends, I hope you enjoy your weekend. As always, signing off, run your day. Dan Hafner, make it a great rest of your day.